And in the blue corner, from Marshall, Texas, weighing an even 263 pounds. His professional record consists of 66 wins, 2 defeats, with 62 KOs. He is a former heavyweight champion of the world, George Foreman.
This fight is sanctioned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission. The 10-point must-scoring system is in effect. The winner gets the 10 points, the loser 9 or less. The 3 knockdown rule is in effect in the state of Nevada. A fighter must get up following a low blow or he may be counted out. A fighter cannot be saved by the bell. There's a mandatory 8 count following knockdowns. Scoring is based on clean hits, effective aggressiveness, ring generalship, and defense. We're underway. Big George Foreman in the blue trunks with the red and white trim. Adilson Rodrigues from Sao Paulo, Brazil. He is probably the biggest hero in Brazil since Pele, the soccer star down there. Big George with that jab. Look at those big, strong biceps of George Foreman. You see George trying to get it through, and Rodrigues doing a nice job of staying away from him right now. George, a prohibitive favorite in the fight. In this betting area, you had to bet something like $900 to win 100 on George Foreman if you wanted to bet on George here. That was a big heavy jab to the bounce the head back of Adilson Rodrigues. Rodrigues came back and started throwing some punches at George, but George seemingly not affected by the punches of Adilson Rodrigues. Rodrigues is a world-class fighter, and something different. The right hand gets through. The first big right hand that George has thrown, it didn't do too much damage to Adilson Rodrigues, but those left jabs, as we call them, but there's really like a straight left hand because they bounce the head back of Rodrigues. George, very powerful guy and very dangerous. And George fighting with that style where he crosses the arms in front of his chest and his face so he never takes a punch real flush. Even in the big loss to Muhammad Ali in '74, if you have had an opportunity to see that fight recently, remember George tumbling like a wounded bull in the center of the ring, and Ali never really throwing the big heavy punch that could have flattened him. There's 2 heavy punches thrown to the body of Rodrigues. And while the punches that time are wild by George, you can see if they were up on the head like that one was, that there's power in those punches. Of course, that has the biggest thing to do with the downside of George's career. When you see great big guys like this, real heavy arms get fatigued as the fight progresses. And again, in the comeback road, it's interesting to note that George has only had to go 10 rounds 1 time, and that was against Everett Martin in Tucson, Arizona in July of '89. And in that fight, he won that on a decision. Fighting twice in '90, in January and April, winning both. One with a 2nd round knockout and one with a 4th round knockout. So Rodrigues coming inside more than Dundee would want. He's open. There's a shot. A left hook catches him, and down goes Rodrigues. It looked almost like a grazing shot. It counts up to 5 and 6 and 7. He's not going to make it. It's 8, 9, and 10. It's all over. A 2nd round knockout for George Foreman. So George Foreman is for real. He has now defeated a world-class fighter with a 2nd round knockout. 41 years old. It came at 2:39 of the 2nd round. George Foreman scores a big knockout. He didn't throw a lot of punches in the 1st round and not too many more in the 2nd round, but he threw the one that was important, and that's the one that flattened Adilson Rodrigues. A big left hand, and it was all over. There's Big George there. His record goes to 67-2, 63 knockouts since the coming out of retirement. As we see it again, look for the left hook. He sets it up here. The right hand misses now. Here it is, bam! And down he goes. And when he threw it, it didn't look like it was that heavy, but Adilson Rodrigues, a guy who scored 26 knockouts of his own, really on Queer Street. He cannot recover from that.